Welcome back, everybody, to today's Love Breakthrough Virtual Retreat. We've got a really beautiful conversation in store for you today with a very dear friend of mine and someone who I would consider almost works a magic in a sense with her client. I know that there's a lot that she's going to share with you today that's going to have quite a significant impact on your journey to finding soulmate love. Welcome, Miss Suki.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be with you here today for this conversation.
We had so many chats already, so I'm thinking, where do we start with this? Because the reason we actually became friends and how we met was through a modality called Theta healing, which some of our audience may have heard of it before, but I'm guessing most of them haven't. Can you just share with us really quickly what theta healing is, and as a modality, like how that could possibly relate to finding our dream relationship?
So, Theta healing is a meditation technique where we access the theta brainwave and from there dig around in our subconscious to find limiting beliefs and to clear them from any reason that we are being held back in our lives from the freedom, love, potential we want to be living in. That's the thing that theta healing is most known for, is the working with limiting beliefs. There are many, many other aspects which gets more cosmic and esoteric, but that's where it really comes into play the most with beliefs around love, romance, and connecting to our soulmates.
What's your understanding of a belief? Because we sort of have this idea, if I have a belief or I have limiting beliefs, so they can either support us or they can work against us.
Okay, so the reason we call it limiting beliefs and not negative beliefs is that our body, our system on all levels thinks that that belief is keeping us safe. It is in some way keeping us safe. And through this modality, we find out why that belief is keeping us safe and rewire our subconscious. It's a neural reprogramming to teach us that it's safe for us to release that belief and replace it with the opposite one. So, for example, it could be that it isn't safe to be married in your culture, or it's not safe to be in a relationship because you will lose your partner, and whether this is coming from our childhood, from something we've witnessed that we may be aware of, or it may be unaware of, or it's from a past life or from our ancestors. It could be from the ancestral line, from your country, your culture, your religion. Even if you grew up in a different country, you might be carrying the remnants of where you came from. These beliefs are keeping us safe, and it's all around safety in the current day life we're living. So we go back and we dig around until we have an aha moment around what that belief is and give us permission to release it, to move forward with freedom.
What are some of the other limiting beliefs that you find your clients have around themselves and around this idea of manifesting a relationship or being worthy of being in a relationship?
It can come up in many ways. The first one's going to be self-worth, and it's either will stem from a childhood belief that you need to be more or do more or say more in order to be worthy of receiving love because you didn't receive it from the right person at the right time. Or the current belief that you have to love yourself first in order to be loved, which is bullshit. I mean, we need to love ourselves, and it's amazing to love ourselves, and we can teach ourselves self-love, but we can also learn to love ourselves by receiving, by knowing that we are, by having the experience of receiving love, being loved, and learning confidence, and to have this reciprocal relationship, then our self-love also grows. So it's very healing to be loved and to love and to share that dynamic. So it's not like you have to love yourself to a point and then you're ready to receive a relationship. No, you want to attract somebody who's mutually beneficial to you, and you can grow together in loving each other.
I'm excited for what's actually to come in this discussion today, Suki, because I know that you're going to take our ladies through a very special experience of Theta, and that's just a little bit of a sneak peek because I know that we'll come back to that. And I would also love you to explain to the ladies how, on a multidimensional level, healing and clearing can actually occur.
So, well, every single session is specific to that person and what's going on for them at that point. There is no one answer, there's no one solution, and each session is different, because as we unlayer different layers of the onion, new stuff comes up. And new stuff is coming up for me constantly, which I wasn't aware of last year, the year before, etc., etc. What we're often not aware of is how past lives or our ancestors' experiences are affecting us. And now in Theta healing, we don't need to identify with a past life as who we are, who we were, what happened. It's more like going back just to remove the beliefs, the trauma, whatever is holding us in this holding pattern now. And it could be that I've had several past lives where I lost everybody in a fire. And so my belief in this lifetime was that if I was to have a family, I would lose everybody in a fire, in which case it's safer and easier for me to be self-contained and to be single, because it's easier than facing the risk of that abominable loss of everyone and everything. I had a recent past life experience where I was killed in a stagecoach on the way to see my lover. And I had a bag of money in the stagecoach, and I had been chosen by him. And it was this feeling of, I have been chosen, I'm going to go and get married, and I have abundance, and I have everything. And I was shot on the way there. And it's like, I can have all it, so the belief in this lifetime was, even if I have all the wealth and I've been chosen, I'm never going to get there. It's always out of reach. It's always unobtainable. So we went back and cleared that. And that's not to say there aren't past lives with beautiful memories, but we go back specifically to clear any reason why. And it's never going to be something that we're aware of consciously in this lifetime, typically. But when it comes together, it kind of goes, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
This is so fascinating to me. Are you able to share a few more stories or examples from clients where something that happened in their past life was actually impacting them in this way?
So there's often people will go back to lives where it was a grind, or it was hard, or there was some kind of torture, or it's like they had to work hard or fight in order to save people, and they never actually got to be happy. Their life was one of toil or struggle, and then they didn't actually get to be with their family. So recently I had a client who he's stressed around his family and hustling to provide, and his ego is attached to what he's providing for his family and how much abundance they live in, but he's not able to relax and be with them. So we went back to his past lives, and it was a life of, if he was to slack for one day, his family would starve and he'd be devastated because he'd lose everybody. So it was like teaching him, can we teach you how to relax and be present with your family? Yeah, yes, please, thank you very much. And so it doesn't have to be a crazy story. It's just that story of, that was how it was impacting him. We went back specifically, go back to the life where you were fighting, or it was a struggle, or it was difficult for you. I recently had a client, and she hadn't mentioned this, but I said to her, can we remove the belief that if you have a family, you will lose them in a fire? And she said, my mother lost everything in the fire when she was a kid, but she hadn't mentioned it to me. So I'm like, okay, can we take care of that then? Yeah, thank you. And then suddenly she could envision having it all without loss, but she hadn't been aware that this was impacting her in the way that it was.
Where does this actually come from, Suki? Where are you pulling this information about people's past lives from, and how do you do that?
So we go up into Theta meditation. We go up in the process, and once we're up there, it's very easy to access the subconscious and the memory, and it's a question of just saying, go back to the place and time where, and you easily go back to that thing, because your soul and all the information is out here held for us in the cosmic soup. And once we know how to do that, it's very easy to go backwards or forwards into wherever we need to go. And
that's the beauty of the theta brainwave state, and learning about theta healing and having an experience of theta healing. It's mind-blowing, actually. You were telling me a story about something that happened in the car. Can you share with our audience what that was about?
So I was driving in a car a couple of months ago, and I had this awareness that even for the last few years, I've been aware that the boxes I'd been trying to tick when I was younger weren't really relevant for me anymore in terms of the picket fence and the husband and the X, Y, and Z. And I'm past the age now when I'm looking to have children or needing a man to provide these things for me. But I hadn't really replaced it with anything differently. And I was driving, and it was like I visualized the dashboard and all these old boxes that were kind of dusty and didn't fit me anymore. I swept them off the dashboard, and I get to choose now what boxes I put on here and what I create in my life. And I get to decide that actually the relationship I'm in is working for me. And even if it doesn't look normal to other people, it works for me. I get to now choose what dynamic works for me. And there are some famous examples of couples who live next door to each other in separate houses, or they have a bridge between their houses, and acknowledging that I need time and space for myself, and I don't want to be with somebody 24/7. Or if we travel, that actually feels okay, as long as we're in a monogamous dynamic that we both agreed upon. So this is another thing when we're manifesting our soulmates, 70% of women are naturally monogamous and only 50% of men. So if we're manifesting, we want to ask for a monogamous partner if that's our inclination. And if it's not, we want to ask for somebody who's honest about what their needs are.
I can hear some whispers of some people that are sort of saying, how is this possible? How is this sort of multi-dimensional, outside of my conscious awareness, healing? How is that possible? What would you say to anyone who's having, I guess, skeptical thoughts about this type of modality, or what's possible for them?
We all have the ability to tap into this, and it's a question of patience, practice, and being open and curious. So I would say to anybody, find your local practitioner, find somebody online, try it, have the experience, open yourself up. We all have intuition. It's not that any of us are more gifted than the others. It's not that spirit is more intelligent than us, or that anything is higher or lower. We all know what it feels like to know something is true, to have a gut instinct, to be given information, to be directed towards things which feel good, or we know things feel bad. So it's not that there's any separation between this information and our own selves.
We're going to start a little bit with some of the most common beliefs that we have that are sort of holding us at a distance to the goal that we want as far as relationships and love. And so I'm going to share a little bit of those and have a bit of a discussion, and then you're going to do a sort of a clearing and a little bit of a taste of Theta for us, which I'm super excited for. The limiting beliefs that we have can often fall into one of two categories. They can either be about the external, which would be relationships are hard, men don't want to commit, all the good men are taken, there's no one my age that is going to have the same energy and vitality as me, there's no one available on apps, relationships don't work. So there's so many beliefs that we might have taken on, because of course we can find examples of those in the real world that are external. And then there's the whole swathe of beliefs that we have about ourselves, like maybe I'm not interesting enough, or I'm not funny enough, or I'm not, worthy of love, or maybe there is fundamentally something wrong with me, or no one's ever going to choose me. And there's all of these sort of more self-identifying or internal beliefs.
Or I need to lose weight before I meet somebody, or I need to have X, Y, and Z first. But we all know that when we do meet somebody we spark with, it just happens, and it's completely regardless of anything else, any external circumstances. So mostly those beliefs are based on our circumstances. It's very easy to say in a country like that we're in right now, that women outnumber men and there's no available men. We only need one, and we need the right one, and we need somebody who's compatible for us either now or compatible for us long term. And that's never going to be around our weight or a job or anything else that's external. It's just around divine timing. So what we do in Theta is ask for our divine timing to be shown to us, that we meet somebody who's compatible now. And it's around having patience. We don't want to meet somebody who's going through a divorce and has a turbulent 2 years ahead of them. We want to wait till they're available and they're ready and our timings match. We don't want to have to be like, grab, I need somebody immediately. And then the next 2 years is going to be stressful and difficult. And I have to go through this whole process with them. No, I've got work to do on myself for the next 2 years. He's got to cook in the oven until he's ready. And then we trust in divine timing. And when that happens, you look back and go, well, of course it had to happen now. This is perfect. If it had happened sooner, I might have sabotaged it because I wasn't actually ready.
That's a really beautiful point that you make, because I know a lot of the ladies that are listening and watching today have had, it's been a journey for them, you know, this journey of being single and going through ups and downs and waves of being really invested and putting lots of hopes into a partnership, and then sort of pulling back and feeling maybe a little bit hopeless, waves of trusting but not consistently, and really wondering, like, what is it that I need to do now to make this happen that I haven't already done before, you know? So there's, I guess, if there's one belief that I would love to address when we move into the guided portion, is this belief that it's actually possible, even though it hasn't really felt like anything's been working or happening up until now.
Well, I think part of that is expecting or needing to be shown love in a way that we think it ticks boxes, whether that's Disney, fairyland, or whatever, that I am loved if this happens, or I am respected if he does this or says that, or she does this or says that, rather than how are they loving me and can I receive it? And am I able to decondition all the other expectations I have of how this should look? So that's been I think that's been a very strong story for me, is love is love, and all the other stuff is a narrative, is cultural, it's so much programming that I don't need to carry with me, because when I'm in the presence of someone I feel this with, there's an expanded state. It's bigger than me, it's divinely guided, I don't have to question it, it just is. And I think we get so caught up in and distracted by all the other variables and all the things we think we need to tick off. I mean, it's not that we don't need to have a list and prioritize what's important to us, but when this experience happens, it is around divine timing and trust. And in the meantime, there's nothing wrong. There's not that you need to do anything in order to earn it, or it's like you haven't got to kind of like climb the ladder of earning something, but rather that you are enjoying your life. You are magnetizing everything wonderful. You are in your full embodiment of what you love to do and following your gut, your heart, and vibrating at a higher level in all aspects of your life. And then you magnetize and meet and attract somebody who's meeting you there.
It's really interesting when I speak to clients who are concerned about, well, I'm not where I want to be at this age, and I would have thought I would have met someone by now, and there's lots of this judgment about what it should look like. I'll often ask them, but if you really, really wanted to be married, if you really, really just wanted to be in a relationship, you would be in one by now. I have no doubt there's been men in your past that have been willing to commit or have been very interested, and for whatever reason you didn't want to pursue that. So it's that coming to that understanding that what we are here for is that expanded love, is that divine partnership in the divine timing. And that's the reason why we didn't marry that person that we could have been with, you know, 10 years ago or when we were in our 20s. And that's the thing that requires patience, right?
But also, I think I work on people who are much older, and working on stuff going back to their childhood and their past lives and their ancestors, and thinking, how did this person have a marriage and have children when they are all dealing with different levels of dysfunction and trauma and beliefs? So I could have married X amount of people and settled and felt constricted and then needed to get divorced, and I don't have that tick off. It's like there's a sense of failure people might feel if they haven't been married or haven't had the 20-year relationship at this point, or 10 years or 15 years or however long. But I would have been miserable for that time, and it would have been harder for me to get out of it than to have been content in the ways I've been content up until now. And then at this point, to find love that feels expansive and true and enlightened, and that actually fits in ways I didn't know were possible to fit, because I hadn't compressed myself and survived a suboptimal situation for that long. So I marvel that anyone is in relationships, that anyone is functional, and that children are still made and have two parents who manage to co-parent with each other. I think we're all doing a remarkable job of being alive and being human.
Before we go into our guided portion, I wanted to just ask, was there anything else you wanted to share? And we're also going to talk about a beautiful gift that you have available for the ladies, that's linked up below this video today.
So one of the things that we also work on in Theta Healing is removing vows, oaths, and promises that we might have made to people in our lives. So we have contracts. So for example, if you were married and you get divorced, you might subconsciously believe that you're still married because you haven't energetically or spiritually changed that vow. So we go back and we clear them all. And that's very, very powerful. And sometimes within 3 minutes of doing that, you might hear from your ex, because they just, oh, I just thought of you. Of course you did. I just cleared that vow, that oath, that promise. So we can be tethered to people throughout our whole life. It may be that you have a vow that everyone you've been intimate with, you're married to. That's a lot of marriage vows that you might have made throughout your life. So we work on releasing ourselves from any burdens, not just of those, but also from our ancestors and our past, that is not our job to be carrying any longer. We also have a concept of attracting people into our life to teach us things. And if we no longer need to be taught that lesson, we can release them from the job of continuing to teach us. We're like, thank you very much, job done, freedom.
What would be an example of that?
Oh, my mother taught me not to chase boys, or that girls, like boys can be it's this like shame around showing an interest in a boy, because then it's slightly slutty. Or is she keen on him? Very much a dated terminology. Is she keen on him? Like there's something wrong with a girl being keen on a boy, but it's okay for a boy to be keen on a girl. So anytime I liked somebody, I suppressed it, I shut it down. So I would release my mother from teaching me any shame or any stigma around just liking somebody and being honest and being able to be honest about that, you know? So for me to admit I liked someone was like just excruciating.
Tell us a little bit about the beautiful gift that you're making available to us.
I am making available a guided meditation into theta brain state around attracting, manifesting your compatible soulmate divine life partner. And it's gorgeous.
Amazing. And just to recap, what sets this apart from a regular meditation? Why is this theta brainwave experience so beautiful and so impactful?
This is a practice we're going to do every single day for 10 days. You're going to write a manifestation list of all the details, and you can keep adding to it, not just during the 10 days, but for the rest of your life until you meet your partner. And it really gives you an experience of how it feels to be in that state, what you need to tweak, what you want more of or less of, and to embody what that feeling feels like. And it just feels delicious.
And set us up, tell us what we're going to be doing now.
So I am going to be connecting to Creator in the Theta brainwave. I'm going to talk you up with me, and we're going to give you some downloads around feelings. Now, an important part of theta healing is not just removing beliefs and replacing them with the optimal ones, but teaching you how it feels to have certain feelings. For example, if you don't know what it feels like to be loved and safe at the same time, we will teach you that. If you don't know what it feels like to be loved as a daughter, you might not have felt love from your parents. We teach you how that feels. So it gives you the baseline of building on other kinds of love. And so feeling work is a really important part of opening up our scope for imagining what it feels like to live our day-to-day life with certain new realities.
Take us through. And everyone, make sure that you're in a nice, comfortable position. What else do we need to do to be set up for this experience? It's going to take about how many minutes?
As long as Spirit says.
Okay.
So you need to sit comfortably with your eyes closed. Feel free to move at any point. Just don't fall asleep. And is there anything specific, Peter, that you would like to start with?
I think we all need to be reminded of what love actually feels like.
Okay.
You know, for many of us, that feeling of intimacy, affection, and love, it's
Okay.
yeah, we've it's been a while.
So with your eyes closed, take a breath into your beautiful heart. And feel that presence expanding in your heart. And feel the world outside the room drop away. The noise, the stories, the chaos. Until you are only aware of the stillness in the room. And then take the energy from your heart down through your body, your hips, your legs, and out through the soles of your feet into the earth. And go down, down, down to the center of the earth. And then draw your energy up through the earth, up through the soles of your feet, your legs, up through each chakra, aligning and balancing as it rises. And then out through the crown of your head into a beautiful ball of light. And placing yourself in this ball of light, go up through the sky, beyond the moon and the stars. And go out through the galaxy, and past the universes. And go up through the dark lights and bright lights, the bright lights and dark lights. And go higher through the golden light. And go up through the thick, jelly-like substance of all shapes and colors. And go up and out into the brilliant white light of pure love energy. And go deeper and higher and deeper, until all you feel and see around yourself is sparkling white light. Feel the tingling essence of this light move through every cell of your body. Okay, and then for every question I'm going to ask, you want to say yes out loud to receive the download. Okay, let's start with, can we download you with unconditional love?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you how it feels to know self-love in every cell of your body?
Yes.
And can we open up every single cell to receiving and knowing how to recognize magic in relationship?
Yes.
And can we teach you how it feels to know you deserve and receive the safety of intimacy in relationship?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you patience around noticing the details of intimacy that you might have overlooked in the past through being in a hurry?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you how it feels to have boundaries in relationship without them feeling difficult or like you're pushing somebody away?
Yes.
And can we teach you that it's safe and normal for you to have boundaries without fearing that you're going to lose somebody or that your boundaries will be too much for them?
Yes.
Can we show you how it feels to know you deserve to be loved, receive love?
Yes.
And can we open up you to receiving love easily without feeling like you have to earn it or do anything or overstretch in order to receive?
Yes.
And can we teach you how it feels to receive without feeling like you have to reciprocate in any length, at any, like you have to reciprocate, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And that's not that you can't reciprocate, obviously, but there's no hurry for you to kind of give it back, that you can luxuriate in receiving. Okay. Can we also teach you how it feels to receive support in relationship without feeling its dependency?
Yes.
That you can receive the interest of your partner.
Yes.
And can we teach you how it feels to be heard on all levels, in all ways?
Yes.
And can we also show you how it feels to be deserving of somebody's time?
Yes.
And can create a download you how it feels to feel provided for without feeling like you're a 1950s housewife?
Yes.
Yeah. That it's okay to be provided for without feeling like you can't provide for yourself.
Yes.
Okay, and can we open up your all levels to knowing that you can create a relationship that fits you and it doesn't need to work for anybody else or to be understood by anybody else?
Yes.
Or if you need multiple relationships, that you're going to have that in a way that is working for everybody with harmony and with openness.
Yes.
And can we also open you up to how it feels to be acknowledged?
Yes.
And can we give you permission to be chosen?
Yes.
Would you like to know how it feels to know that you are the prize?
Yes.
And that you can be chosen and know that you are the prize without needing to earn more money, without needing to lose weight, change anything, fix anything, or earn it in any way other than this is just your innate quality and this is the value of who you are.
Yes.
Okay, can we also give you permission to redefine your relationships in all ways, regardless of your family, your heritage, your culture, and your religion?
Yes.
Can we also open you up to divine timing so that you can meet your compatible soulmate who you will grow with, who is aligned to your path, and that you won't lose your path if you are with somebody?
Yes.
Can we show you that it's possible for you to have a relationship and your work path in a balance that you can reconfigure and change throughout your life as you grow together?
Yes.
That you're not sacrificing one for the other. You don't need to, it's not like a work-life balance needs to be in stasis, that it can continue to evolve.
Yes.
Okay, how does that feel?
So good.
Is there anything else you need?
I'm complete.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, a couple more coming through. Can Creator remind you to be grateful for all the dynamics in your life, all the relationships, all the previous loves, all the lessons that you have learned, and all the gifts that they have brought you?
Yes.
So we tend to get clouded in our stories of the things that went wrong and the problems that there were, and forget about the beautiful details, the gifts, the subtleness that these relationships dynamics brought to us. And can we also remind you that if you have beautiful relationships in your life now with men or with women, that those qualities that you are exhibiting and that you are being reflected to you, you bring into your relationship?
Okay, yes.
You already have evidence that you are a decent person in the world who people love and respect and are honored by, and that you already have what it takes to then transfer those, use those, move those to a natural relationship.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. And the last one, can we download you with how knowing that it is possible to live your day-to-day life safely being loved?
Yes.
Okay. And then we say, Creator of all that is, thank you for my life.
Creator of all that is, thank you for my life.
And whenever you hear this, even if you're hearing it years later, that as you say yes, you are receiving each download into every single cell on all levels through time and space and between time. So whenever you're ready, come back down into your body and then down into the earth. And then bring your energy back up to your heart. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
The second last one got me, Suki. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that as a collective, we all have just resonated so deeply with some of those beautiful downloads. Thank you so much.
About downloads. When I first started doing Theta healing, the downloads were more of a concept. It was like, yes, I want that. Thank you very much. That's a nice idea. As I continued to have them, I felt them in my body. And now when I'm receiving them, it's like a top up, and it's like my cells jiggle because they're already full, but it's like a top up of them. So if these downloads feel alien or strange or impossible, listen again and again and again until you feel this soaking into your body on all levels and becoming real for you.
Super beautiful. Thank you so much for being so gracious and generous with your time. It's always a pleasure. And I've had the pleasure of actually witnessing some of the most profound, beautiful transformations that you've done with clients as part of your group trainings. Just for those that are interested in beta healing as a modality or working with you, can you just share a little bit about what you do and in terms of classes and teaching as well?
So yes, I'm an instructor and I teach 6 classes in Bali and online. Well, actually anywhere in the world and online. And I work face-to-face, one-to-one in Bali, and I do online Zoom sessions. Yeah.
And I absolutely, as you probably can tell from our conversation today, think that theta healing is one of the most beautiful, transformational modalities. There really is such profound shifts that can occur in really such a small space of time, because you are working in a realm that's not, I guess, overworked and bogged down like our conscious mind is, and even our subconscious a little bit. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that or add before we wrap up today?
Always more to add.
Okay.
So each thing we remove, we're removing it permanently. There are some practices we need to take forward, like if we are in a toxic situation, we want to take ourselves out of that situation. Otherwise, we'll keep on repeating that pattern. But if we're removing beliefs and we're changing these stories and we're receiving downloads, that's done. And we get to move on to the next layer. So this is permanent change. It's not like we're going to be stuck in our story of what happened and who did what and the narrative around all this blah, blah, blah. We are removing, we don't change the past, but we're removing the charge from the past so that it no longer has that resonance in our life and we're free to move forward.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Make sure that you check out all the links down below for that beautiful soulmate activation from Suki and all the other ways in which you can connect with her as well. And thanks again, Suki, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. And we'll see you again soon.